Happy Self Love Sunday. I am Sass, the host of Self Love Sundays with Sass. I am a certified vision and empowerment coach who comes here every single Sunday so that we can talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. For those of you who are new, welcome. I hope you stick around and enjoy the content. For those of you who come back every week, it's so good to be back. I missed, for those of you who didn't know, I missed 2 weeks. The first week, I was very, very sick with COVID. And then the second week, it was Father's Day and Juneteenth. And for those of you who celebrated, I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful celebration that day. So today I want to come and talk about something. And it was one of the reasons why I felt like for me, that me even getting sick kind of happened. So I want to talk about mindfulness. I want to talk about mindfulness today. And mindfulness is basically maintaining a moment to moment awareness of your thoughts, feelings, bodily senses, and your surrounding environment. So when you talk about moment by moment awareness of your thoughts, what are you thinking about? Right? Feelings, bodily sensations. What are you feeling in your body? Most people don't even know because we're so busy just kind of running around. We not haven't checked in with ourselves. And what is going on in your surrounding environment? Are you paying attention? And this became important to me because I know personally I get very, very busy. And when you're busy, you're kind of always like reactive. And to me, when you are reactive, that's like that autopilot, right? Always on autopilot, just moving about. And when you're doing that and you're not really paying attention to what's going on within you and around you, it can cause some hiccups to happen in your life. So I'll give you a prime example. I'll start with my job. I'm always so busy at work and multitasking. I'm doing 1,000 things at once. Well, a part of what I do is I write custom contracts for customers, and we're talking about customers who bill anywhere from, 1 million to $1 billion, general, seriously, per year. And I'm responsible for making sure that everything that they need, all their custom terms, I'm negotiating everything is in the contract. Well, because I'm doing 1,000 things at once and not concentrating, I made a mistake. I made a mistake on one of the numbers. Now, thankfully, I was able to catch it, but it was one of those moments that made me sit back, especially for me to say, oh, wait a minute, you know, take a breath. You're doing too many things at one time. Slow down. Don't allow anyone to push you to move faster because that's generally what happens. It's like, hey, I need it right now. I need it right now. And it kind of puts you in, put me in that reactive mode, and I didn't stop and I wasn't mindful. But like I said, thankfully I caught it, but not all the times that's going to happen where you're going to be able to catch something like that, right? And then what is the trickle down consequences of a mistake, a very costly mistake, right? So it's one thing to mess up words, it's a whole other thing to mess up millions. Okay, so just not being mindful. And I started this off by saying, I was thinking about mindfulness in terms of me being sick, because there were two things that happened that led to that, right? So the first one was I was really stressed out. There's something I really, really want to do, and I also consider myself great at manifesting, so I'm still going to do it. But I also had to realize that right now I have so much going on that it may not be the right time. So what happened was but this is my personality. I really want to do it. And when I say I want to do something, I want to do it. And I was stressed out about how to come up with a way to make this thing happen. And I didn't even realize I had stressed myself to the point where I kind of was like, already starting to feel a little tired and just not really, you know, aware of what my thoughts were. And then I did go to Atlanta to a golfing event and had the most, listen, first of all, I had the most amazing time while I was there, but I wasn't being mindful. What does that mean? Well, people were still getting sick. I wasn't being mindful of the fact that people were getting sick and there were more cases going up. And I didn't wear my mask when I came home. I didn't wear my mask in the airport. I didn't wear my mask on the plane. And here's the thing, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm always very clear about that. I'm here to talk about mindfulness and being aware that although you may believe whatever you want to believe, the fact is people are getting sick, whether it's cold, flus, whatever, right? And the mask can help. So take it as you will. So because why am I saying that? Let me back up. Why am I saying that? Because I've been traveling for the last 2 years. And never have I ever gotten sick because I was always mindful of what's the state of the world, what's going on, and that I'm going to be around a bunch of people. Let me protect and take care of myself. So that's why for me, I'm like, okay, I wasn't being mindful. I just was going along with it. And truthfully, my mind really wasn't focused. I had a lot on my mind. It was still during that time. I was still like thinking about the moment I got back to my hotel room, and after I finished doing all I was doing with my people, and then I get to the airport. I'm like, I'm back in that mode of really, really like stressing about this situation and how am I going to make it happen and can I make it happen? And I just feel like all of that together, just my immune system went to crap. People do not realize just how much stressing affects you. It affects your mental and physical health. Okay. And I wasn't mindful of my thoughts. So when I think about, being mindful, and it's right now, if you're watching this video, think about how much you're on autopilot. You're just moving. You're just moving about your day, not really taking time. So I really want to talk about some of the ways to cultivate mindfulness. Number one, this is my favorite thing that I do to cultivate mindfulness. And this is what brought me back home, so to speak. When I realized that I was not being mindful, I wasn't aware of my thoughts. I wasn't aware of my feelings and what was going on in my body. And I sure wasn't aware, being aware of around my surroundings, right? So the very first thing I did was check in with myself. And you will see me take my hand and you'll see me place it over my heart. But what you don't see is my left hand is actually over my belly. And I really just stop, take a deep breath. And I just start to ask myself, what are you feeling? How are you feeling? What's going on with you? Just really checking in with myself. And what I've learned as a part of my practice for mindfulness, most times now, I won't commit to something unless I've done this practice. Because I used to be a person who would overcommit myself. I would always show up for everything and everyone and be there all the time. And then, so in the midst of that, though, if I'm doing that for everyone else, that means I'm not doing the things that I need to do for myself. I'm not checking in with myself. I'm not taking care of myself. And it's funny because a few years back, people thought, oh, she took care of herself because I was in the gym and I taught fitness and my body was crazy, right? Like, when I mean by crazy, meaning hourglass figure, muscles everywhere, right? And people don't even realize I wasn't. I really wasn't taking care of myself. I was doing the thing that I needed to get done, but not from a mindfulness standpoint. Okay, I still was running for everyone. The gym for me was really therapy. Let me just say that. It was when I was in that gym, it was the time that I really wasn't focused on everything that was falling all around me. It just gave me a chance to really concentrate on me and the weight. So I will say that. But as far as like taking care of myself, I really wasn't doing that to the fullest capacity, right? So now, before I answer someone, if someone asks me to do something or, or whatever, I make sure I check in with me first. Okay, that's the number one. First thing to cultivate mindful is checking with yourself. The second thing is move your body. Go for a walk. Go for a walk. Just go for a walk. A lot of people get tied into they need to do all these crazy things to be healthy. Go for a walk. Trust me. just get up and go for a walk. And I'm going to tell you that I actually said, so 4 ways. And so a part of walking, and one of the things that I do is a grounder when I walk. What does that mean? That means I go outside in the grass, I take off my socks and my shoes, and I actually walk barefoot in the grass. And generally when I'm doing that, sometimes most times I do it, I stop and I say to myself, all this stagnant energy, any and all negative energy that is within my body, I call it down from my crown all the way to my feet and out my body. So I usually close my eyes and I visualize all of that energy just leaving my body and sending it back into the earth. Grounding is a process that I absolutely 100% enjoy. And if you want to learn more about it, of course you can look it up. They have plenty of YouTube videos out there and different type of grounding techniques that you can do. And so that leads me to the next thing, which is meditation. Thinking about, what are you thinking about? And when you get in meditation, let me tell you something. Most people think, oh, it's just about being quiet. No, it's about what are you thinking about? Being mindful of what's going on in there. And of course, we want to slow down those thoughts, right? We want to be in the moment, okay? But it's thinking about, what are you thinking about, right? And then lastly, focus on one task at a time. Listen, I'm a mom. My kids are now grown up. My baby is 17, but I knew what it was like to multitask. And we think that we're the ultimate multitasker, and when we're multitasking on everything is getting done correctly, but I promise you it's not. I had to come to the realization that, focusing on one thing at a time was where I was at my best. When I was trying to multitask and do 1,000 things at one time, I always fell short somewhere. And most times I fell short on taking care of me. I need you to hear that. Most times, moms, when we're multitasking, where we fall short at is taking care of ourselves. We're so busy taking care of our children, our significant others, and our friends, and wanting to be there for everybody and do all the things, but we're not stopping, checking in with ourselves, taking a deep breath, and then focusing on one thing at a time. And I'm going to say this, taking the time to focus in on you. Who are you outside of your children? Who are you outside of your significant other? Who are you outside of what you do in your job? Who are you? I always say that I am a wealthy, powerful, and intuitive woman, because that is truly who I am. That's who I walk in, right? And my personal vision statement, which that's what that is, that is my statement that goes with me everywhere I go. That is who answers the call on my life, okay? But most people don't take the time out to never alone make a personal vision statement, but to understand the importance of it, to understand the importance of figuring out who you are outside of all those things, because one day, hello, my soon-to-be empty nesters and or empty nesters, you are going to be without your children. So who are you outside of that? Who are you in this season of your life? I always say they're different seasons. I am so different in this. I don't even recognize myself some days. I'm so different in this season of my life. But a part of the reason why I'm so different is because I've mastered the art of mindfulness. Now, let's talk about it. Do I fall short? Absolutely. I just gave you 2 examples. And when I first started, that I fall short, but the purpose is to have the tools and the techniques that I can come back to. If I could tell clients, listen, if I could tell anyone who doesn't have a coach, the wonderful thing about having a life coach is the tips and tools that we give that allow people, when you fall off or fall short, to come back to them. It's so funny. I just was talking to a client on Wednesday that said that exact thing. She found herself about to go back to those whole old habits and old ways, and realized, listen, I have different tips and tools that I can use. I'm going to reach back in my tool bag and start to do the things that I discussed with my coach. And it makes the difference. I listened to her say how she's living a whole new life now. It's so important. So that's what the reason being is, because the very first thing I do is we tackle the mindset. We tackle the mindset first, and then we tackle intentional focus first, and then second, I'm sorry, and then lastly, we get into action. So I do have a program that's called Finding Your Way. And if you're interested in and want to learn more about life coaching, please reach out to me at 908 444 6041. Or you can always reach out to me at Life Coaching with Sass on Instagram and Facebook. Those are my handles. You can always feel free to message me or email me at info@mosass.com. But I want to get back into this mindfulness because I talked about ways to master it, right? So we talked about ways to cultivate it, but there's also ways to master mindfulness. Number one, when I talked about choose to be proactive instead of reactive. Choose to be proactive instead of reactive. Reactive, when you are reacting, that's that autopilot. So if you find that you're about to enter that space, right? If so say for instance you were trying to be proactive and it didn't work out, and you feel like you're about to react to something, I want you to stop and check in with yourself. Okay? Remember, way to cultivate it, I talked about, was checking in on yourself. Way to master it is to become proactive. Okay? Instead of reactive. But if you find yourself about to react, stop. Okay? Secondly, establish a morning routine that includes meditation and affirmations of mindfulness. Listen to me. Affirmations are your best friend. Affirmations are your best friend. And the reason being is because it's just like, listen, repetition is mastery. Think about how you learned math. Think about how you learned division. Think about how you learned math multiplication. 2 times 2 is 4, and you said it over and over and over and over and over again until it was ingrained in you, because repetition is mastery. Okay, so establishing that morning routine where you are practicing meditation, which is practicing those mindfulness techniques, and then your affirmations, right? That is the second way to master mindfulness. Another way is observe your thoughts outside of the meditation realm. Think about what you're thinking about throughout the day. Taking time to really think about it. Am I in a negative space? Am I in a thankful place? Am I stressed out? Am I worried? Am I anxious about anything? What are you thinking about? 9 times out of 10, what you're thinking about is what you're putting in this universe, is what you're getting. So if you find that you're having some negative experiences consistently, you want to check into what you're thinking about. 9 times out of 10, your subconscious thoughts are very negative. And it's funny because we had these conversations with the ladies group that I'm a part of yesterday, always preparing for the worst. Listen, it's okay if you want to have a plan, A, B, C, and D. But I want to caution you into always thinking about the fact of something is not going to work out, something is not going to come to fruition, because then it's going into this negative mode. Okay, I want you to be mindful about that. Again, we want to always hope for the best, right? Even if we have to prepare for whatever the worst is. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I stopped preparing for the worst, y'all. I don't even prepare for that anymore. I prepare for the best of the best of the best. That's me, but I also mastered mindfulness. The next thing is, I call this leaping. Which is letting go of all my limiting beliefs, eradicating my fears by feeling the fear and doing it anyway. I talk all the time about the story of me last year in Puerto Rico, standing at the 15-foot cliff, scared out of my mind, and I leaped anyway. Why did I do that? I did that because I wanted to show myself that I could do anything, and that, yes, I'm going to be scared, but at the end of the day, I trust in my God, which was my life vest at the time. Hello, somebody, because I had it on. I trust God. I trust that there's going to be some big things that are going to come up in my life that I'm going to have to take that leap of faith. So I wanted to do it then. So that was eradicating the fears, and which is feeling it and doing it anyway. Answering the call in my life. Being mindful that there is a purpose for me being here. Being mindful that God has called me to some very specific things and I am answering the call. And the lastly, which is the P, is prospering in my purpose. I am no longer afraid to charge what I'm worth. The price is the price. I work too hard. And somebody needed to hear that today. Charge what you are worth. And stop feeling like you have to discount yourself to meet people's needs. That is not your client then. And also, I'm going to say this. Mastering mindfulness for me was also being mindful of the fact that my family and even some of my closest friends were not my clients. So why am I looking for them to validate, hello somebody, validate what I do and if I'm good at what I do and how I do it? Being mindful of who your ideal client is. Who is your ideal client? My ideal client understands the value. See, when you don't understand the value of something, you will exchange it for anything. I understand my value. I understand what I bring to the table. I understand that I am an investment. So my ideal client understands that, and by investing in themselves, the ROI on that is tenfold. And what I mean by ROI is rate of return. There's a rate of return on your investment. And mine is tenfold. If I can sit in front of someone and they say to me, I'm living a total different life. I am in a new paradigm. And because of the work that we have done together, not only has my life been enhanced, but everybody who touches me life, you have to understand the value of that. Most people don't understand the value of what they bring to the table. That's why they're always looking to sit at someone else's table. But when you understand the value of what you bring, then you understand that you are the table, therefore you can create it, and you don't have to sit at anyone else's. Hello, somebody. That's what happens when you master mindfulness. And in order to master it, you have to cultivate it, which means you have to do it every single day. Okay? I hope that this was awesome for you today. If you want to learn more about how to cultivate and master mindfulness, please reach out to me. Again, I am at info@moesass, moesass.com. If you want to email me, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Life Coaching Just a W with Sass. Please reach out to me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And remember, be mindful.